97.3 ESPN, home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
They've got 'em!
WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
Oh, what a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
Hump Day Wednesday edition of Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Glad to have you guys on board the show today, the day before Eagles game day, Thursday football. You hear all the action right here. Right after Game Night is the coverage of Eagles versus Bucs right here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Of course, we are your home in South Jersey for the Eagles, the Sixers, and the Flyers. Flyers opening night, by the way, is Friday night. So you got tomorrow night, Eagles, Bucs. Friday night, Flyers opening night. A little busy week here. And, of course, Ben Simmons just decided to roll into town, just because this week. So it's been a busy week, and we got a lot of stuff to get to here on the show. We'll dig deeper into the Eagles as well as Thursday football matchup with the Bucs with Dave Weinberg for another edition of Weinberg Wednesday. Coming up at 6:20 tonight. Of course, you guys can always join the conversation on the show. Text board 609-403-0973. Priority messaging into the show. DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Thanks to First Bank of Seattle City. And, of course, we are live on YouTube and Twitter at 973 ESPN. So, of course, the Eagles officially made it official. Obviously, on a shortened week, there's not a lot of drama usually when it comes to who's playing or not playing. It's just, you kind of already have an idea. You have an idea of who the teams are, but both teams pretty much confirmed everything we knew today. No Lane Johnson tomorrow. That was expected. No Gronkowski. That was expected, for the most part. Levante David was already basically not a part of things for the entire week. So it's fair to say that we already had an idea that Tampa was going to be down some guys. But as we get closer to kickoff, I don't want to give anybody false hope. And I'll give you my full keys to the game tomorrow. But when you look at the injury report for both teams, it should not fall on deaf ears how injured the Buccaneers are. This game right now is looking more and more, if we're being completely objective, like this could be a high-scoring game. We saw the Eagles and Chiefs high-scoring. Why can't this game be the same? Now, of course, that partially depends on Nick Sirianni getting his head out of the sand and maybe being a better play caller. But when the odds makers tell you that this is a 52.5 over-under on the total points, that gives you an idea of what this game probably is. This is probably one of your 28-24 kind of games. And that means that both teams are going to find ways to score, and the Eagles have enough to slow down Tom Brady. Now, on a short week, that also favors the home team. There's a long history of home teams having an advantage at home in these games. Long history. So when I look at this game, as we start turning our mind from Eagles win over Carolina to what the Eagles got to do versus Tampa, when I see names like Antoine Winfield Jr. and Levante David ruled out for this game, Levante David and Antoine Winfield are easily among the 5-10 best players at their positions. David, linebacker, Winfield, safety. You can't get past the reality that this situation with this game tomorrow night, it's something to keep an eye on. you could see a lot of points. Because I don't know how the Eagles defense is going to particularly stop Tom Brady and the Bucs offense. They might be able to slow them down for a possession or two, but I don't think they're going to actually stop them. And then when you flip it over to the Bucs defense, let's be realistic. It's not like Tampa's defense is what they were to start the year. That's really the key part of this. When they were fully healthy to start the year, they still gave up 29 points to the Cowboys, 25 points to the Falcons. And then they started getting banged up. And then they went to LA and they allowed 34 points to the Rams. They played the Patriots in a rainstorm. That helped them. The Dolphins are a dumpster fire. That's why the Dolphins always scored 17. But we saw for the first 3 weeks of the season, Tampa's defense can be scored on. So to me, I think there's a chance for the Eagles to score points in the game on Thursday night. The question is, as I said just a few minutes ago, is Sirianni going to get his head out of the sand? Or are we going to see another situation where you're calling all of these screenplays? And to be perfectly frank with you guys, I understand there's a contingent of people out there who look at the Eagles' loss to the Panthers and look at the Eagles' loss to the Cowboys, and they look at these different games and they develop this opinion about Jalen Hurts. And I got to tell you guys, I can't rock with it. And here's why. We live in a world where everyone is impatient with everyone. We live in a world where everyone has no patience for people to grow and to develop and to mature into their job. We want our food instantly. We want our food fast. We want our fast checkouts. We want our fast passing lanes. Everything we want. We are completely impatient as a society. If you're looking up something and your computer slows down or your cell phone slows down for even a moment, you'll lose your minds. So I can't accept a world where you're going to tell me that you are going to judge Jalen Hurts off of just 9 games. You can't judge him off of 9 games. I'm sorry. And if you're going to blame him for the Eagles' offense, then you got to blame Nick Sirianni. As I wrote about over at 97.3ESPN.com this week, the Jekyll and Hyde nature of this team falls on Sirianni and Gannon. It doesn't fall on the players. Because at some point, I got to blame the play caller. I got to blame the guy who is putting the plays in Sirianni's ear. I'm sorry, in Hurts' ear. That's Sirianni. I'm not saying Hurts is without blame for his play. What I'm saying is that Nick Sirianni needs to wake up. I've heard a million times now, he's the son of a coach. His brother's a coach. He's a football junkie. He loves football. He's passionate. Discipline, accountability, doing things the right way. Blah, 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 blah. I'm tired of hearing it. I want to see it. I want to see Sirianni learn from his mistakes more than once. We talked about this after the 49ers and Cowboys games. He comes out in the Chiefs game and the offense looks gangbusters. And then the very next week, for 3 quarters, the offense looked like something that I might see on a Friday night at a high school in South Jersey. That's unacceptable. If you have a bad possession or two, okay, but multiple weeks, penalties had taken touchdowns off the board. Multiple weeks, just this obsession with the screen game and the bubble screens and the trick gadget plays. It's like enough's enough. Play football, Nick. This is not an experiment for your desire, your personal choices in life. I don't have the time or the patience for Sirianni, quote unquote, learning on the job. Because learning on the job means you are learning. That word learning means something. And if you're the man telling Jalen Hurts in his ear what to do, you got to be better. And I want to hear it's about age because Sean McVay walked right into the Rams, and 2 years later, he's got them in the Super Bowl. And he's younger than Sirianni is now. Sean McVay walked in there in his early 30s, took control of a franchise that has spun out of control under Jeff Fisher. He walked in there with the authority and the presence and the command and took control of the situation and turned Jared Goff from a potential first-round bust into a legitimate starting NFL quarterback, and they got to the Super Bowl 2 years later after he was hired. So I don't want to hear about Sirianni is young. Sirianni should know better. Sirianni needs to stop telling Jalen Hurts to run plays if he knows that they're having a lack of success with those plays. He's got to stop putting plays on the field that are not working. You know that marker hanging on your hat, Sirianni? Take it off of your hat and mark down. Make a note to yourself. Stop calling this play. It's not working. Don't tell me, Nick, it works in practice. Because practice and the game are two different worlds. And you're going into a game on Thursday night with no Levante David and no Rob Gronkowski and no Antoine Winfield Jr. and a banged up JPP. That defense and that offense is not 100%. And if you go in there with the way that you played on offense versus the Panthers and the 49ers, the first words out of your mouth better not be, I got to do a better job. Because if it is, everyone and their cousin and their mother and everybody should question your sanity, Nick Sirianni. Because if you know you got to do better, then just do it. Learn on the job, Nick. Stop asking your young quarterback who has 9 NFL starts to bail you out every time you make a bad call. Be the adult in the room. Don't use your age as an excuse, because I certainly won't. Because guess what? I've seen plenty of young coaches be hired in this league and have success. And I've seen plenty of coaches who are supposed to be smart veteran coaches and go out there and fail miserably. Age is not a prerequisite for success in the NFL. Age can be a hindrance for a player, but it is not a determining factor in success or failure. And Nick Sirianni has to prove tomorrow night that he is not an ostrich, that his head is not buried in the sand. Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Of course, you could DM the show, priority messaging through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Thanks to First Bank of Seattle City. Of course, we are live as always on YouTube and Twitter at 973 ESPN. And as always, you can text in the show at 609-403-0973. Speaking of week 6 of the NFL, it is tomorrow night with Thursday football between the Eagles and the Bucs. And FanDuel Sportsbook is about to make it even bigger. Because right now, FanDuel is giving new customers 30-1 odds on either the Bucs or Eagles to win. That means you can win $150 on a $5 bet. Offers like this are just one of the many reasons I love betting the NFL on FanDuel, the #1 rated sportsbook app in America. FanDuel is sports betting made simple, and they're always hooking you up with great offers. So just sign up with promo code Hennig today before Tampa Bay kicks off against Philadelphia, and you could win $150 on a $5 bet. Remember to use promo code Hennig to get on all the action for NFL Week 6 exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Must be 21 or older to play and present in New Jersey. New users only. $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. Max bonus $150. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. We'll talk more Eagles with Dave Weinberg for a Weinberg Wednesday next here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of CLC. I'm Josh Hennig at Josh Hennig on Twitter. More on the Eagles next.
At 97.3 ESPN, we love the month of October. The MLB playoffs.
3-2 pitch. Fastball belted deep right.
Sixers basketball.
Up and in.
Flyers hockey.
He scored!
Eagles football.
The Eagles shut them down.
The NFL and college football.
Into the end zone. Touchdown.
We are South Jersey's sports station. 97.3 ESPN and live on the free mobile app.
It's game time. Football season is in full swing, and you can catch all the NFL action at the FanDuel Sportsbook in Bally's Hotel and Casino, Atlantic City. It's time to get in on all the games you love. Experience sports betting done right with live streaming games, food and beverage, self-service betting kiosks, and more. Get your game face on and score big this weekend when you bet at FanDuel Sportsbook in Bally's off the boardwalk, Atlantic City. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Josh Hennig back here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank at CLC. We'll get to your guys' messages a little bit later in the hour. Keep them coming in. You DM the show priority messaging through the 973 ESPN mobile app. Text board is open 609-403-0973. Joining us right now on the YouTube stream at 973 ESPN on YouTube. Twitter, get more into the Eagles as they prepare for Thursday Night Football. Dave Weinberg joins us for another Weinberg Wednesday here on 97.3 ESPN. Dave, how you doing today?
Doing well, Josh. How are you?
Overall, I'm doing well.
That's good.
But when it comes to the Eagles, I'm a bit exasperated because I'm kind of at a point with this team where I know I should accept that this is a team in transition and they are what they are.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I just feel like that the phrase learning on the job should actually involve learning. And I look at Nick Sirianni, and I don't know if he's actually learning. I think he might be more of an ostrich leaving his head in the sand than an actual football junkie that everybody claims he is.
Yeah, you might be right there. I thought last Sunday's game was just another example of that. I think he's still a little bit overmatched. Granted, all credit to them for pulling out the win. The defense was the unit, and the special teams were the ones that kind of delivered it, though. The offense got some fortunate breaks and took advantage of them. So, but yeah, I can understand your frustration.
Because here's the thing, I mentioned this earlier before you came on, Dave. Sean McVay was 32 years old when he took over the Rams. He had the Rams in the Super Bowl in 2 years. He turned Goff from a guy who looked like to be a first round bust to a functional, starting, competent NFL quarterback. So I don't think that Sirianni's age is the reason why he's having problems. I think the problem with Sirianni is that I think Sirianni dreams at night of bubble screens that work, and then he calls them in the game and they don't work.
Yeah, he's a little bit lacking as far as well, I shouldn't say creativity, because he did have that so-called Philly special a few weeks ago that didn't work too well. But
hold on. Dave, is that creativity or is that just stealing somebody else's idea?
Yeah, good point. Yeah, it might be right there. Yeah, I just don't know that he's made any progress, really. He just seems to be stuck in neutral as far as the offense goes. Jalen Hurst did not play a good game Sunday by any stretch, although he did rush for 2 touchdowns. But yeah, I'm just waiting for him to establish some consistency, and that falls on Sirianni, I think, a little bit to make him more comfortable, call plays that are better suited for him, maybe. Yeah, the bubble screens, we've been there, done that all ad nauseum now. It's time for something else.
I'm glad you said that, Dave, because this was the question I was asking in the last 2 days. At what point do we need to go to the Jalen Hurts sucks people and tell them, hey, man, you really believe that a guy with 9 starts in the NFL is telling the play caller to shut up and he's doing whatever he wants? Like, are we really supposed to think that Hurts is out there taking control? Even Tom Brady, his first couple of years of the Patriots, he was basically just a game manager, just going out there and managing the offense.
Right. Yeah, Jalen's just doing what he's been taught to do, and what he's he wants to impress the coaching staff. He's not going to ad lib. He's not going to disrespect Sirianni or whoever's calling the plays. Yeah, he's just going by what they tell him to do, and I don't know why people would be so down on him. Like you said, 9 games is not enough of a sample size to make a determination yet. He's had some bad games. He's had some really good games. So I just want to see a little more consistency from him, though, and hopefully that will happen as the season progresses.
Dave Weinberg joining us for a Weinberg Wednesday here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Dave, I do want to go into the positive, but there was one positive from the game. Jonathan Gannon did learn something, and he stopped with his stubborn, passive zone defenses. I guess Gannon's got his own version of the Jim Schwartz sticks defense. He ran it for 2 weeks, and he realized, that's not really working very well. Maybe I should let Darius Slay be a man corner, which is what he's good at. And all of a sudden, Darius Slay gets interceptions, and Fletcher's moving up and down the line. It seems like at least Gannon learned something going into the game, and I don't think anybody can deny that the Eagles defense basically won that game along with TJ Edwards' block punt.
Yeah, I mean, and Jake Elliott too with the 58-yard field goal. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's yeah, I mean, Ryan Kerrigan even made a tackle. That shows a lot of
Right?
progress, right? Fletcher Cox finally had a sack. Darius Slay finally had his first 2 interceptions. So maybe the defense is finally onto something. I mean, I think they're in for a pretty rough day tomorrow, but we'll have to see. But yeah, it was refreshing to see the defense play that well after giving up 83 points in the last 2 games.
They've now given up a total of 41 points to the Falcons, the 49ers, and the Panthers, but they gave up double of that to the Cowboys and the Chiefs. So are the Eagles a defense that can at least contain non-high-powered defenses, or are they a defense offense, or are they a defense that they're just Jekyll and Hyde from week to week?
No, I think they're capable of dominating against mediocre to poor offenses or conservative offenses, I guess. But when you face talented, high-powered offenses like they did with Dallas and Kansas City, and that they're going to face again on Thursday, they're not. I don't think they have the talent or the depth to compete with that kind of stuff. I think it's going to be a kind of an ugly game from their standpoint tomorrow. But who knows? Maybe they did learn something from the Carolina game that they can carry over into Thursday. Not a whole lot of time to prepare for it, though.
No, not a lot of time at all. But there's one good thing, and that is after Tom Brady on Thursday night, basically the best quarterback you're going to see the rest of the year, their names are Dak Prescott and Justin Herbert. So you go from this gauntlet that we all talked about before the season, Dave, how, listen, the first 6-7 weeks was going to be rough. We all said it from the beginning. But now, after Brady, after Thursday night, the schedule does become a little bit more digestible and manageable. So is there a chance that the Eagles can just survive, get to that second chunk of the schedule, and then maybe at least smooth things out?
No.
Okay.
I just don't think they're good enough. I think they play Arizona, don't they? Right? So that Kyler Murray,
they got the Raiders after the Bucs. Then they got the Lions, the Chargers, the Broncos, the Saints, the Giants, and the Jets back to back. I mean, who made that schedule? Then they got Washington, Giants, Washington, Cowboys.
Oh, okay. I stand corrected then. All right. Yeah, I mean, they theoretically have a chance, I guess, but I still don't see them winning like more than maybe, I don't know, 3 more games down the stretch. I just don't think that they're good enough to and there's also, they won a game they maybe shouldn't have won Sunday. There's going to be a game in there that they're supposed to win and they're not, whether it's at Detroit or against the Giants or even the Jets. I'd be shocked if they don't beat the Jets, but who knows anymore. I just think they were a mediocre to slightly below that football team. I could be wrong. Maybe they will show progress down the stretch, but I don't see it.
So if that's the case, Dave, is that because of the coaching, or is that because of the roster, or is that a combination of both?
A little bit of combination of both, but I just don't think this coaching staff is ready for this kind of responsibility. I mean, Gannon maybe, but I know I hate to keep harping on it, but I just don't think Sirianni is ready for this kind of job yet. I mean, not to say that he won't be, but I don't know. He just keeps harkening back to, my brother coaches high school, and when today he was telling stories about eating Cheez-Its or something, and we got together with pizza. I mean, just like high school teams do, and I just don't see an NFL head coach yet. I mean, maybe he will be down the line, like I said, but I don't think he's there yet, and that's and I think that's going to hamper the Eagles going forward here this season.
Is it possible that the owner, Jeffrey Lurie, just tried too hard maybe with Sirianni? Was this maybe a situation where he was like, hey, I got Andy Reid for anybody thought of him, and
right.
I got Doug Pierce for anyone thought of him, and I made a mistake on Chip Kelly, but I'm not doing the college route again. I went and got another young up-and-coming coach. Was this maybe Lurie overthinking the room, and we're all just dealing with the growing pains of Lurie's desire to be right?
Yeah, I mean, Jeffrey just always he loves to go against the grain. He loves to get the the person that nobody else thinks of. And it worked out for him with Andy and with Doug, like you said. But I just don't think this is going to be the case. I think he's overreached himself a little bit too much here, like you said. This was a gamble that I just don't think is going to pay off. I could be wrong, but that's the way I feel.
Dave Weinberg joining us here on Game Night for a Weinberg Wednesday here on 97.3 ESPN at Dave Weinberg 19 on Twitter. Extra point columns over at 97.3 ESPN.com. Now, Dave, before we get to anything else, I know you've had a very adventurous last several days. So,
sure.
So give the audience a little idea if anybody is not religiously following you on social media, even though we live in a world where we pretty much can spy on each other endlessly. But, I sound like an old person when I say that, but I just think social media has desocialized us altogether. But anyway,
I can understand that. Yeah.
So give the audience an idea about your adventures recently, because I thought it's interesting, all your gallivanting and all your travailing here.
Oh, thanks. we were supposed to have our 45th high school reunion this past weekend, but however, it got switched to next year out of COVID concerns and what have you. Just couldn't get enough people to get together. So I decided, you know what? I haven't seen my college roommate in a few years here, and he lives in North Carolina. Eagles were playing in Charlotte. So I said, I got credentials through 97.3 ESPN.com and wrote a couple of stories for you guys. But yeah, I flew to Myrtle Beach on Saturday to save some money on the airfare. Played golf Saturday at Arrowhead Country Club in Myrtle Beach. Next day, got up early, drove to Charlotte, went to the game. Next day, drove to High Point and met up with my my college roommate from Appalachian State, Scott Myers, and one of our good buddies from there, Russ Gobble, and played another round of golf. Then drove back to Charlotte, then drove back to Myrtle Beach, and flew home. But yeah. I mean, I'm really enjoying myself. I've made a commitment to myself to not waste a moment. Life's too short to sit on the couch and watch Big Bang Theory reruns. So I just whenever the opportunity presents itself, I want to take advantage of it, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Well, listen, I appreciate
and
it,
have some fun.
Well, yeah, because it's one of those things where, like, a lot of people want to do things, but they never actually pull the trigger on doing it. And I see what you're doing, and you're literally pulling the trigger on things, and it's just great. And I like the fact that you're still taking care of all of your interests, but you're also still watching the games, and you're still consuming everything. You're not doing one or the other. I feel like sometimes, how many times we run into people, and these people, we're not going to name them on the radio, but we all know those people who are like, well, I couldn't do this because I had to do this. And it's like, are you managing your time very well? Like, are you like, because it's not always because of work, right? It's because they chose to do something else instead of doing something else. And to me, I enjoy the fact that you're saying, listen, I'm coming on the show every week with Josh because I committed to it. And I'm still writing for 97.3 ESPN.com because I committed to it. And you're still going out there and living your best life.
Oh, well, thanks, Josh. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big sports fan. I always will be. I enjoy watching the baseball playoffs, like I've said. I just love playoff baseball. And I love the NFL. I like NCAA. I was heartbroken to see App State get embarrassed last night on TV against Louisiana.
Well, see, you brought that up. I didn't. Come on.
Yeah, I know. I understand. Yeah, I was really disappointed for that. I mean, I actually made a point to go over to Sportsbook in Atlantic City after I got off the plane just to bet that game, and didn't work out so well. But yeah, what are you going to do? Hopefully we'll bounce back and hand Coastal Carolina beat down next week and get back into the thick of things with the Sun Belt Conference. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I love sports. I love my family. I do everything I can to get to my grandsons. I got another grandson coming in another week or two.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's grandson number 3. So yeah, I'm just really enjoying myself. And hopefully once this the COVID restrictions ease up a little bit, then my wife and I can get out and do a little bit even more of enjoying ourselves.
Well, you mentioned the baseball playoffs. We'll get to that before I let you go, because I don't want to talk about the App State game last night. I
thank you.
You brought that up. You did that to yourself. I wasn't going to bring it up, but
that was embarrassing.
Listen, we got the Dodgers and Giants tomorrow night. So that's going to be running right up against the Eagles game, which I think is the stupidest thing baseball can do. I don't understand I don't understand the ego of baseball to think that, well, only people on the East Coast care about the Eagles and the Bucs. We're gonna have our baseball game anyway, but I digress. These baseball playoffs have been a lot of fun. There's been walk-offs, there's been crazy plays,
Oh yeah. Yep.
and now on the American League side, you have what I think is arguably the juiciest matchup you can get. Astros and Red Sox. Alex Cora versus his former team. You have all the dynamics that the Astros, the team that everyone loves to hate, but so are the
Yep.
Red Sox, right? The Red Sox were caught doing some cheating stuff as well. So it's like, it's almost like, you have a movie where you have two villains and they both have to, you got to decide which villain do you actually like want to win.
Yeah, it's like kind of like the lesser two evils there. Yeah, they're both like you said, they're the teams that people love to hate, especially the Astros now. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting series to see who emerges from there. I'm with you. I'm kind of disappointed that the Dodgers and Giants would be playing tomorrow. As I've said before, I'm a big Giants fan dating back to since I was a kid. So hopefully Gabe Kapler and them can pull it out and get to the NLCS. But yeah, the Eagles Bucks they're kings, right? They're the kings tomorrow, and everybody's going to be tuning in to watch that, including me. So I guess I'll just have to flick back and forth when I can.
Well, worst case scenario, you just hope that the Giants and Dodgers, start, they have a really long first few innings. And then by the
Right, there
time
you
the
go.
Eagles game is done, it'll be the third inning because, baseball happens like that sometimes.
That's true.
And
Yeah.
I'm only complaining because, one game recently between the Dodgers and the Giants, they took so long that I had to move things. I had to take care of things on the station's schedule because it wasn't really aligned for that. So it's just kind of like, baseball is an untimed game, and it's a positive and a negative sometimes. That's all I'm saying.
That's true. Very true. Yep.
Dave, I always appreciate you jumping on. I always ask people to go check out your stuff over at 973ESPN.com, at Dave Weinberg 19 on Twitter. And of course, the podcast is Tequila and Touchdowns with Dave Weinberg. He joins us each and every Wednesday for a Weinberg Wednesday here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Dave, keep living your best life, and we'll catch you next week.
Thanks, Jess. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me. I'll talk to you next week.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. We'll get to your guys' thoughts and comments on the other side. Text board is open, 609-403-0973. You can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app. Priority messaging through the app gets you in to have the conversation before anyone else. And of course, you can chime in on YouTube and Twitter. We saw Dave Weinberg at 973 ESPN. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night.
This is the radio home for Philadelphia Eagles football. Tomorrow night, it's week 6 of the 2021 season with the Eagles hosting the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And with zeros on the clock, the Eagles have beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Pre-game coverage begins at 7. Maryland Mike call all the action starting at 8:20. This is where the Eagles play. 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's Eagle station.
So, what are you sipping? Whether it's our freshly ground coffee to wake you up or an icy Polar Pop cup or Froster to keep you going, our new Sip and Save drink subscription at Circle K will keep you refreshed every day. Join Circle K's Sip and Save and grab any size drink every day for just $5.99 a month. Yeah! Start sipping and saving today. Just sign up with your mobile number when you check out at Circle K. Limited time offer at participating locations.
The number of people doing business online has skyrocketed since the pandemic hit last year. So it has never been more important than now to make sure your business can be found online. Town Square can help you find more local customers with premium website services to help you grow your business faster when you visit mylocalcustomers.com. Don't wait. Visit mylocalcustomers.com today to learn more about how Town Square can help you grow your business. That's mylocalcustomers.com.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Josh Hennig back here to Hump Day Wednesday edition of Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app. We'll get to your guys' messages all across the board here in just a moment here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Don't forget, with football season in full swing, you can catch all the action over at FanDuel Sportsbook in Bally's Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City. Whether it's the NFL Thursday night, Sunday, Monday, college football Saturday, the Major League Baseball playoffs, the NBA starts next week, Flyers opening night this Friday, whatever your sport is, it's time to get in all the games you love. Experience sports betting done right with live streaming games, food and beverage, self-service betting kiosks, and more. Get your game face on and score big this weekend when you bet with FanDuel Sportsbook only at Bally's off the boardwalk in Atlantic City. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Couple messages to get to here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN before we give our parting shots and wrap up the show. A little bit earlier, Jeff over on YouTube chimed in and says, I had to call off tomorrow because last time the Eagles played on Thursday, I was in the coffee room screaming at the TV. Well, that's Jeff, you are a very loyal and dedicated Eagles fan. I just hope for your sake that you didn't take off in vain because I don't know how this game's going to go, honestly. I'm still formulating the game. I'll give my official pick tomorrow night before the game. Of course, you can hear all Eagles coverage right after me tomorrow night on 97.3 ESPN. Merrill Reese, Mike Quick on the call right here on your home for Eagles football in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN FM. My biggest problem with the Eagles right now is I don't trust Sirianni. As I wrote over at 97.3 ESPN.com, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, you can read all the details there. But my mind keeps going back to the story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the story of the gentlemanly doctor who experiments with the serum and he turns into this gratuitous monster. And I feel like at times that Sirianni just wants to experiment. He's more interested in experimenting and being interesting and showing how smart he is and creative he is than just doing what needs to be done. Stop overthinking the room, dude. Stop trying to be the smartest guy in the room. Just do your job. To me, it's very simple. Dan from EHT, after my little rant earlier about Sirianni, says, Josh, I would run through a wall if you were my coach. You got to give a pregame speech for the Eagles tomorrow night. Well, anytime the Eagles want me to get up there, I'm available for booking. I'll say that. Listen, there are plenty of people who can give the speech that with the passion that I gave you guys earlier. All right. Listen, I'm not saying it because I'm trying to sound a certain way. I'm saying it because I really genuinely feel that way. And maybe Dave Weinberg is right in when he says that, look, Sirianni just might not be built for this yet. This is growing pains, right? And I just wonder about Sirianni. I wonder about a lot of coaches is at the professional level, it's not like college. It's not a rah-rah attitude. Typically, it's not a situation where guys just go out there and they're, building energy and stuff like that. These are professionals. If you can't get up for a game when you're being paid millions of dollars, then I don't know what you'll get up for. And listen, a coach can help with those situations, but at the end of the day, if Sirianni is not getting through to these guys, that's a huge problem. Now, I don't know if it is or isn't because of the fact that, like I said, the Eagles have scored more 30-point games than all of last year. They've scored 30 more points twice this year. Twice. They scored 29 points the most last year. And if you go back to the year before for the Eagles, they were scoring points. Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz were getting it done. They were 12th in the NFL in scoring. They were 14th in total yards. But they went from that to being 26 in points scored and 24th in total yards. And now this year, the numbers have crept back up. They're 16th in scoring and they're 14th in total yards. So we know the offense is capable of getting the job done. The question is, will Sirianni get out of his own way? And will the team stop being self-destructive and imploding on themselves? I don't know if I have the confidence in Sirianni at this point. I feel like I have more confidence in Gannon in the defense because at least I've seen the defense do certain things consistently. I haven't seen the offense do certain things consistently. I think that's what really rubs me the wrong way. Listen, Dan from EHT, the Eagles don't need me specifically to go out and give them a speech to get them motivated. But they do need Sirianni to wake up. They need Sirianni to get over himself and his infatuations and get with the program. That's for sure. Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Of course, Eagles action tomorrow night. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. right here on 97.3 ESPN FM. On Friday, the Flyers open the season up at 7 p.m. right here on your home for Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN. And I got to tell you guys, I did consume a good amount of the NHL and ESPN action last night. And I think aside from some of the technical glitches they had, I think, and I'm not saying this just because we have ESPN on our station name, I'm saying this as an honest arbiter. I think ESPN proved why they're better than NBC Sports. Now, we're going to find out tonight what Turner can do because tonight is the debut of hockey on Turner Sports. And, I'm interested to see how this plays out for them because to me, the only problem ESPN really had in terms of presentation and everything last night were the technical issues. It seemed like whoever was involved with the production truck on the games maybe was a little raw or a little green, not the best effort, not the best that ESPN had to offer on the technical side. But I thought that everyone else did a very good job with everything involved in the broadcast. And I think that what makes ESPN who they are, and I know some people out there still hate ESPN because of their own personal beef with how ESPN presented their programming, presented their content years ago under John Skipper before he was fired, and they brought in new upper management. But the reason why ESPN is good at what they do is because when they spend money on something, when they buy a property, when they go out there and take on the NHL, the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, UFC, Major League Soccer, whatever the sport is, college football, they invest energy into it. And I think I appreciate that. I always have and I always will. And it's not that other networks don't do that. Turner has shown they can do that with the NBA. Let's see if they can do it with the NHL tonight. I think it's something that NBC is very hit or miss with in terms of what they do with their business. That's why they're shutting down NBC Sports Network at the end of the year because they realize that they don't have what it takes to compete in that arena anymore. I think CBS has realized that they're directing their energy and money elsewhere because they got outbid by ESPN for the SEC football package in a few years. I think Fox typically does a very good job with the NFL. They do an overall good job with baseball. I think that they, some of their other properties have had shown lacking at times, particularly college basketball. But listen, I think that in terms of sports networks, whether people like ESPN, the television network or not, I think they do a good job. And they did it last night with hockey. And I think that it was very interesting to see how that went down. And I don't know if they're going to do good the entire year, but, I was telling Mike Gill earlier, Mike Gill had Iron Eagle on the show and he was great. You hear certain people, you think a specific sport or you think the game is substantive. You hear Kevin Harlan's voice, you hear Iron Eagle's voice, and this is a game, right? This is a game that I want to sit down and listen to or watch. Last night, I hear John Buccigross, right? And it's like, that's a hockey guy. That's a guy that's a relatable hockey guy, not stiff hockey guy who talks over my head hockey guy. Okay? To me, I think that there are just certain things that sound right. And for me, I just think that hockey belongs on ESPN because at the end of the day, let's be realistic. How many of you really care about half the stuff that's on ESPN network? You don't. You care about the sports. You don't care about college softball like you care about the NBA. You don't care about, cornhole the way you would about hockey. Like, it's just, there's degrees to this stuff, okay? And, no offense to the lower tier sports, but, the hierarchy in American sports right now is the NFL is number 1, the NBA is number 2, and then college football is probably like right behind it, number 3, because of how big it is in certain parts of the country. Major League Baseball is after that, and then you got another group of sports, and hockey's part of that group behind that with UFC and boxing and other things. And I feel like on a sports network, every sport should be a part of that network. That's all. That's just how I look at things. So, thanks again to Dave Weinberg for joining the show today. We'll be back tomorrow night. Andy McNamara with him. We'll preview Eagles on Thursday football. I'm Josh Hennig. Have a great night.